right. So you served 2 terms on the city council, correct? Before you
did.
made the decision to run for U.S. Congress, and against an incumbent who was rarely seriously challenged. What made you decide to pursue that next step, and what made you think you would be successful?
Like many of us who live in El Paso and who live along the border, I'm deeply proud of where I'm from. And I'm also, especially before serving in politics, very frustrated by the kinds of policies that would originate in places like Austin or in Washington, D.C. that would disproportionately burden or negatively affect the border. I'm thinking of things like the border wall. I'm thinking of things like the wait times to cross our international bridges coming into communities like El Paso that can go 3 to 4 to 5 hours long. I'm thinking about enforcement-only approaches to issues at the border, whether they're security, immigration, or an issue that I have been pretty adamant about, which is our failure in the drug war and the consequences to communities like ours and our sister city of Ciudad Juarez. And so when I looked at where many of these problems originated, I found myself looking at Washington, D.C. and the Capitol, and I just felt like we could really use more ambitious leadership on those critical issues in which El Paso has a unique perspective, those issues of the border. We really need a very proud voice, one that can tell our compelling, positive story about the border's contributions to the rest of this country and why we can have a positive policy impact here instead of a negative one. So really that was the impetus to run, and we ran a long shot challenger race against a deeply entrenched 16-year incumbent, and we're one of these few times in our country's history where you're able to defeat an incumbent through the party primary. Does not happen a lot in the U.S., and I think it has a lot to do with the team that we brought together here, but I think more than me or the team, it has a lot to do with where El Paso is and this desire to see change and a more positive development along the U.S.-Mexico border.